Welcome to this lesson of P6, term 3. Yes, term 3. It's English as usual. You see my face, and we are going to be talking about English. And this topic is a different one from the one we were discussing last time. Last time we were talking about hotels. Today we are here to have a discussion or a lesson about using a dictionary. Using a dictionary is the last topic of term 3P6. Meaning after this year, if you have been following the lessons we have been posting, you'll be ready to do your end of year exam and we see how you perform. Yes. Basing on what you have been learning from our online classes. Yes, these video lessons. Using a dictionary is the topic, and we start with the vocabulary as usual. We start with the vocabulary as usual. Let's go through the list of new words in the topic, and later we see what comes next. We have the first two words as alphabet. Should not be familiar to you, but these words keep on appearing. Just to remind you that new things are not really many. What is important is to pay attention when teachers are teaching, because if you see the word alphabet, maybe it's not your first time, I'm sure it's not your first time to hear the word alphabet. But as a new word in this topic, it means there is something you know about this topic, much as the teacher has not yet started teaching. So be careful with this subject. Alphabet, then pronouns. Check the spelling of the word pronouns. Then come down here to check the spelling of the noun from the verb to pronounce. The noun is pronunciation. The verb is pronouns. There's a difference in the spelling between the verb and the noun, abstract noun. Next is consonant, and then guide words, definition, look up, reference, spelling, abbreviation, acronym, vowel, pronunciable. What can be pronounced is pronunciable. Then refer, index, and finally define. Finally define according to my list on the board. It is always a summary of what you have in the workbook. I normally tell you, we may not be able to write whatever you have in the workbook on the board. It's not easy to transfer everything from the workbook to the board when the person following has the same workbook. So we give you a summary of what is on the board, then what you are supposed to do, so that you find it a bit easier to approach the activities in the workbook. So let's go through the list once again, so that we master the pronunciation of the words that are written on the board. Alphabet, pronouns, pronunciation, consonant, guide words, definition, look up, reference, spelling, abbreviation, acronym, vowel, pronunciable, refer, index, and finally define. Master the pronunciation and meaning of each of the words above. Master the pronunciation and the meaning of each of those words you see in that list. Then after that, use each of the words above to construct a meaningful sentence. This sentence should be oral. It should be an oral sentence. Get a vowel, a word like vowel, and you say, yes. You first master the meaning. The meaning is always given in the workbook. Let me check in our workbook. The meanings of these words are given on page 40. Check page 40. You get the meanings of those words we are looking at. So, whichever word you don't see in the workbook should be defined in the dictionary. Let me try using the word vowel in the sentence. Yes, when I look at the alphabet has two kinds of letters in English. That is vowels and consonants. The consonants are 21, then the vowels are 5. So you can see the English alphabet has 5 vowels. Finished. The English alphabet has 5 vowels. Yes. In fact, vowels help us to pronounce words. Yes. So you can say we use vowel sounds to pronounce words. Next, we see an activity on page 39. Page 39 has an activity about this vocabulary list we are looking at. So you turn to page 39 and do that activity. But before we go to page 39, like I said, This workzone is a summary of the work you have in the workbook. You are going to learn about the commonly used labels in your dictionary. I'm talking to people who have Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionaries. Those dictionaries have abbreviations, and you need to master the abbreviations that are used in the dictionary in order to use it the right way. We have AWBR. It is used to refer to an abbreviation. That is ADJ next, meaning an adjective. Then ADV, which is an adverb. An example is here. Someone give you the word like quickly. Let me not use quickly. And use much. And in brackets they put this. Let me not say the dictionary will put that in brackets. And this is a sign that much is an adverb. That is understood. So we use these symbols sometimes to indicate the different parts of speech. Sometimes they use boxes, blue squares. Yeah, they are blue squares. It's a blue square. Then here they put adjective to show you which part of speech they are defining. So let's go ahead with using a dictionary when we know the meanings of those symbols or labels that are used in that very dictionary. Letter C is used to show countable nouns. Then letter U is used to show you uncountable nouns. What else? CONJ, that is conjunction. Then DET shows a determiner. Next is N, which shows you the noun. Then PL, the pronoun, and other labels used in the dictionary as shown in the workbook. We have East African English, South African English, North American English, which is written as name, N-A-M-E, just like this, North American English. You see this label? They are showing you English, or a word that's commonly used in North American English. So other kinds of English are talked about. For example, I see East African English, where we will find words like matoke, words like mandaz, words like boda boda. Those are words that are used in East African English. They sound like local words, but they are only understood by people who are speaking English within East Africa. That's why they are called, they are marked as East African English. Next is Canadian English. If you see an expression or one that's labeled C-A-N-E, Canadian English, it means it is most commonly used in Canada. That is one of the countries in the continent known as North America, north of US. That's where you find Canada. Commonly used in that area. So when you see one marked with like Indian English, is it given here Indian English? Okay, it is talked about I-N-D-E. I-N-D-E. In Indian English, those expressions are marked like this. English that is commonly spoken and may be understood in India. If you see an expression or a term marked with I-N-D-E, that means this label shows you that this terminology or this word is commonly used in that country known as India. An example here is a word which is very common here: cousin brother, cousin sister. Those words are commonly used in Indian English. When you speak normal English, you don't expect to say such a word. Yes, a cousin brother. A cousin brother is just a cousin. A cousin sister is just a cousin, and a sister is a sister. However, if you're speaking Indian English, yeah, those expressions are not strange. Yes, but use them in Uganda, people will say, you've murdered enough buffaloes. Pause. We see symbols that are used in the dictionary on page 39. Page 39 shows you symbols that are used in the dictionary. Where? How do I say symbols? I can't show them to you on the camera. Okay, good enough, you have them in the workbook. The first symbol, which is like a snake or a crooked dash, is used to replace the head word. In other words, the word that's being defined. An example is here, where these symbols are normally used in Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. We are using Oxford as our dictionary. The other dictionaries will be used, but since Oxford is very commonly used in Ugandan schools, let's base on it to teach you about the use of a dictionary. This is the symbol we are talking about, used to replace a head word. If the head word is, let's say, discuss, you read this dash, you read discuss when you reach this dash. You say discuss. Let's say sometimes they use this. So the moment you come across this, you say discuss something. Yes, discuss something. That's the meaning of that symbol. Next is the square, which I've just talked about, which shows the new part of speech. Like I put a square here and I told you it can be used to introduce an adjective. An adjective is a part of speech. Then there is a triangle, which shows a word produced or got from another word, and that should be a derivative. Derivatives are words that are formed from other words. The spelling is this, derivative. And they are indicated using this triangle, normally blue in your Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. Then this circle, yes, shows where a word can be broken when pronouncing it. Some children mistake this and they think these circles or these dots, very tiny, are there to separate words. They are there to separate syllables. They are there to separate syllables, but not words. If words are written as, let's say, if a word is written as one, then it needs these dots if it has no syllables. If it doesn't have syllables, then they write it straight away as one word. If there are two separate words, for example, seat belt, then you will see it written separately in your dictionary like that, seat belt. Next, we see this, the last symbol, which is used to show phrasal verbs. Yes, phrasal verbs in your dictionary. After that, we have an activity, and that activity is still on page 39, and that one requires you to write the proform of those given words. The first word is thesaurus. Thesaurus, looking at the last letters, US. We normally change US to I to form the plural of a given word. But thesaurus has two plural forms, either thesauruses or thesauri. Next is skills. Do I know the plural form of skills? No. The word was supposed to be skill. Yes, change to skill. It was a typing error. Change to skill so that you can find out the plural form of skill. Other words include index, which changes to indexes, then page, spelling, dictionary, entry, head word, guide word, and many others. But these ones are very easy. So let's go straight to the next table, and that table is about words, and these words are specifically verbs, and how to change them to past participle form. Complete the table below correctly. We have the infinitive form plus the past participle form this side. If the infinitive is pronounced, how do I change it to past participle form? How do I change it to use it after a word like has, after a helping verb has, or have? Why do I use these two helping verbs? Because after has or after have, you are expected to use a past participle verb. So what's the past participle verb of pronounce? Obviously, we can say she has pronounced. Pronounced. Correct. Part of the table in your workbook, it's a summary of what you have in the workbook. So use this to continue answering other questions in the workbook. Stress. Yes, stress should be our answer. Past participle. Stressed. Then refer, referred. W-R-E-D. That is the past participle refer. Next is spelled. Spelled, which changes to spelled. The teacher has spelled the word correctly. Next is write. I have dashed a lot of work today. I have written. W-R-I-T-E-N. And lastly, according to my work with about look, which obviously changes to looked. You look up words in your dictionary. You don't look for words in the dictionary like they are both lost. So you look up words in your dictionary, but not look for. That one you should understand today. Don't tell me, the teacher told me to look for the word, but I failed. No. The teacher told me to look up the word, but I failed. So, these definitions on page 40, we are done with them. So we have an activity about antonyms, not antonyms, acronyms. We have an activity about acronyms. And that activity, I think, better we do it together. Yes, let's move together. But what is an acronym? First of all, it's an abbreviation formed from the first letters of other words. Think of an abbreviation that is formed from the first letters of other words. And that abbreviation is the one you call an acronym. Teacher, what about the word can't? Is it an acronym? Wait. Can't is not an acronym because it is not formed from the first letters of other words. What about you wake? UW is, by the way, one important thing you need to learn about acronyms is they can be read as words. An acronym can be read as a word. So when I say an acronym is a word, so an abbreviation formed from the first letters of other words, that acronym must be read as a word. Just like you read this, there are 4 letters, U, W, E, C. But we read them as a word. And you see, you wake. Just reading them as a word, and each letter stands for a word, means it becomes an acronym. So we say, you wake in full is, you may guess them as I write. Uganda Wildlife Education Center. Correct. That's our full form for the acronym UWEC. Yes. Don't tell me words like UPE is an acronyms. Never. Because if you can't read it as a complete word, then it is not an acronym. Acronyms should be read as words. You read this as UWEC. You read this as WHO, WHO. Some read WHO, others read WHO. If you read it as WHO, then it becomes your acronym. The WHO in full is World Health Organization. By the way, taking you to back to this, the word wildlife is always one word. And the other thing I want to emphasize here is, do not listen to other full stop at the end of your answer. Full forms do not require you to put full stops. Never. It's never part of our expectations from you. If you answer, let's say you are given abbreviations and you are told to write them in full, and you write them with punctuation marks at the end, full stops, you are off track, you are lost. Get back to the right ways. So WHO in full is World Health Organization. WHO is our acronym, and the full form is World Health Organization. Commonly used NSST. Well, even UWEC, Uganda Wildlife Education Center, commonly used NSST. Okay. P6, maybe even P7 is English. We talk about UWEC and keeping animals, P6. Then P7, animal rights and freedom. Animal rights and freedom. Yeah, that's a subtopic in P7 term 2. You learn about it when you reach there. That's when you learn about UWEC once again. Then UWA. Yes. And that is UWA. Other people read it as UWA, and that is Uganda Wildlife, one word, Wildlife Authority. that is wa. No full stop, only capital letters and go. Okay, capital letters at the beginning. WA acronym, Uganda Wildlife Authority. AVAR, still about animals. Under animals. This is an acronym under animals. And the answer is Association of Veterinarians and Doctors who treat animals. Veterinarians for animal space. Okay, animal rights. This should be enough. You are able to see this. Association of Veterinarians for Animal Rights. That is AVAR. Our acronym, you remember we said an acronym is an abbreviation that is formed from the first letters of other words. We formed the acronym AVAR from the first letters of other words. Which other words? Air Association, then Veterinarians, Animal and Rights. So we formed the acronym AVAR from those letters. Next is from those words, sorry. Next, yeah, this is the last one by the way. NGO. Yeah, you may read it as NGO, that is an acronym, or NG1, and that is non-government organizations. Non-governmental organization. That's our answer. Lastly, after the acronyms, let the teacher talk about opposites. Opposites, for those of you who are not aware, are known as antonyms. Yes, antonyms and opposites, those words mean the same. We are saying these are words with entirely contrasting meanings. Words with entirely contrasting meanings. Meaning, what this one means is completely different from what its opposite means. If you say girl, the antonym or opposite of girl, as everybody knows, is boy. You look at a boy and a girl, totally different human beings. So the word boy becomes the opposite of girl. Okay, then as its opposite as shallow. Go to the swimming pool. One tell you to swim from the shallow ends, then the other swim from the deep ends. Internal. Opposite is external. That is its antonym. We have internal parasites in animals plus external parasites in the same animals. Internal, that is inside, the external outside. Failure is if you register failure, that means you have failed to register success. So success is the opposite of failure. Double C, double S. Dwarf is our word here next. And this antonym is giant. Giant, the opposite of antonym of dwarf. Then majority is the word. Teacher, on which page are we? Someone may be asking that question, sorry. We on page 44. Page 44, that's where we have antonyms or opposites. Majority from major as its opposite as minority. From minor. Both are nouns. Major is an adjective. Then minor is an adjective. Sometimes minor can also be a noun. Okay, but here I'm talking about from adjective to noun. From adjective major to noun majority. From adjective minor to noun minority. We got the second last one as contract. If things don't contract, then they expand according to your science. Yes. What happens to this on a hot day? It expands. On a cold day, it contracts. You know those things in science? The teacher of science will give you details about what contracts and expands depending on the weather. Lastly, guilty in our list. And the opposite of guilt as talking B5 template, peace and security should be innocent. If you are taken to court You may plead guilty, or the opposite, and the opposite of guilty is innocent. That should be the end of our lesson today. We have various activities in that work between the very first page we began with, and that was page 41, not 41, page 38, up where we've reached. There are different activities, you can do them, yes, as guided by the teacher, and where you feel you need further guidance, ask the teacher. How do I ask the teacher? The number is going to be written on the board, and you'll be able to copy it and reach the teacher via WhatsApp for further guidance. Then next time we meet, we'll be discussing we'll be discussing formation of opposites. How do we form opposites? Using suffixes, not suffixes. Here we see prefixes first. Yes, prefixes. And details will be given about that in our next lesson, that is like 7 days from now. 0, 7, 0, 4, 4, 5, 9, 1, 4, 8 is the WhatsApp number. Reach me via WhatsApp. No calls, no texts, no SMS I mean. Just use WhatsApp. Reach me via that number. Thanks for watching. This is the end of our lesson. We'll meet next week. Goodbye.